Ancient China. So cities grew along the river banks of two rivers here we're going to talk about. They have an isolated culture due to their geography. Civilizations developed with few outside influences, and their borders are to the east the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea and the Pacific Ocean. To the west you have the Taklamakan Desert, and to the north you have the Gobi Desert. Southwest, the Himalayan Mountains. And there's the Gobi Desert. And the Gobi Desert gets cold as well. So the two rivers flow toward the Pacific Ocean. You have the Yangtze River in central China. You have the Honghe River, or the Yellow River, in northern China. The North China Plain, this is land between the two rivers, rich farmland, and it's the center. It's going to be the center of Chinese civilization. It's right in here. So here's a picture you see. Here is the Honghe River, the Yellow River, and here is the Yangtze River. So their climate is like the U.S. To the west, it's dry. To the northeast, it's cold. Winters with warm summers. To the southeast, mild winters, hot, rainy summers. And think about the crops that are grown in China. This right here is rice. Here's the climate, what it looks like. Compare that with the U.S. So as you see here, legalism is powerful government with strict laws to keep law and order. People will only do good if they're forced. Harsh punishments are needed to keep people afraid, make them afraid of doing wrong. So Shang Yang, those who fail to report lawbreakers should be punished. Under legalism, books were burned, and those who questioned the government were arrested. So Confucius lived from 551 BC to 479. He believed that order could be kept if anyone has respect for, or if everyone has respect for each other. Leaders should serve as good examples. Lower members of society should obey those above them. Ideas collected in a book called the Analects. So his 5 relationships. Each relationship has its own duties and codes of conduct: father and son, elder brother and younger brother, husband and wife, friend, and ruler and subject. So what are the nature of these relationships? They play off one another, but basically, let's see here. He's going to argue the file piety. I think you need to underline that. As you can tell, it's already underlined. But we need to know the file piety is treating your parents and elders with respect. And when you do this, you start treating authority with respect. You start treating, everybody gets respect. So basically what he's saying is it starts from the family out. If you have respect in your family, then you're going to have respect in your community. When you have respect in your community, you're going to have good relations with your province. When you have good relations with your province, it moves up to the leadership. So he said it all starts with good family relations and respect. So Confucianism eventually adopted by many Chinese rulers, and it was the guiding force that shaped Chinese culture. So we have Laozi in Daoism, or Taoism, and Laozi believed that all humans must find a way, or the Tao. to live in harmony with nature. So this is basically like nature's laws are more superior than social laws or human-made laws. You'll see this throughout history. You'll see it in U.S. history as well. Basically, questions of rights and wrong or he says questions of right and wrong are pointless. People will be content with their simple everyday lives in harmony and free of desire. Government should leave people alone. So here is the yin. Oh, well, back. Here's the yin and the yang. The yin's black, cold, dark, and mysterious. The yang is white, warm, bright, and light. Both forces complement each other. Each changes and evolves over time. So we have 3000 BC to 500 BC, or excuse me, to AD 500. You have these early Chinese civilizations, densely cultivated lands between the Yellow and Yangtze Rivers. As you see, the forbidding landscape mountains served as barriers isolating them. Little is known about China's first dynasty, the Shang or the Shang Dynasty. Over 4,000 years ago, they left no writing, believed to have been a myth, but historians are saying there's probably something there. Just they did not have any writing. The foundation for the Great Wall of China was built during the Qin Dynasty to fend off northern nomads. We're going to talk about the Qin in the next, I believe it's the next part of China. So, the Shang Dynasty, 1766 BC, as you see, they established their dynasty, or they established their civilization. They claimed to have permission from the gods to do this. They controlled a portion of the North Central Plain, or the North China Plain, and they made war on nomadic people. They treated parents and ancestors with great respect. No strong central government to speak of. Family members ruled distant lands. So with the Shang Dynasty, they developed pictograph symbols. Educated person knew about 10,000 characters. You can learn written Chinese without being able to speak it. And what is the advantage of language that you can learn without speaking? I mean, think about it, guys. I can give you an example of Stalin knew the English language. Stalin knew English, but he didn't speak it. So when Churchill and FDR, I believe it was I don't think it was Tehran, it was Yalta. I think it was at Yalta, they made ethnical jokes at him, and he understood them. And they didn't think he understood them, but we found out in 1991 he understood everything. So anyway, Zhou Dynasty, 1027 BC. They defeated the Shang, took them over. The rise of the Zhou created a pattern of what is called the dynastic cycle. And this is dynasties rise, they rule, and then they decline. So rulers must keep the mandate of heaven. In other words, they must get the support of the gods to rule. Distant lands were ruled by lords pledged support to the Zhou. When the lords grew in strength, they began to fight the leadership. So here's the dynastic cycle. Like I said, new dynasties become old. Then you have an old dynasty with the mandate of heaven. The new dynasty claims the mandate of heaven, and they take over. Pick up with part 2.